friends ever since.
Today is a sunny day. A very sunny day, actually. Like many Scottish people, I have this guilt when it's sunny that I have to be outside. I think it's probably, you know, from when you grow up and your mum tells you, yeah, you need to get outside and make the most of the day. So I'm going to make the most of the day, or at least what's left of the day. But I'm going to go into town and take some street photographs, and I've decided that I'm going to do a video of it. I want to test out my new Ricoh GR IIIx, which is this 40mm Ricoh, which is perfect for street photography. And I'm also going to be trying out videoing some of the process, which I've never done before. I managed to pick up one of these wee DJI Action 2 cameras, which my friend Lee recommended. He's got a good channel you should go and watch. He does all sorts of interesting photography things. But it's nice and tiny and discreet, and it sits on my shirt here, so hopefully nobody will notice it. So that's the plan. I'm going to go and see what I can do, and I'm going to take you along on my journey. Unfortunately, I had to get the bus into town again because the trains were all off. Surprise, surprise. But it did mean that I got to sit on the upstairs and look out over the passing people, including this bizarre scene where there was literally like hundreds of these pigeons congregated, and I was waiting for these girls to walk by and scare them, but they rather intelligently decided to hold off and cross the road because it could have been chaos. Anyway, I also got some photos of one of the best pubs in Glasgow. That's one of the benefits of being able to sit upstairs, I guess. Once I got off the bus, I grabbed a few photos on the way, including one of these people. They didn't look too happy, but then again, they are waiting for a bus in Glasgow, so no big surprise. Just up the road, or just up the way, I also got a photo of this guy. Quite like the colours there, made them a wee bit cooler than usual. Moving down through the world famous Argyle Street, which unfortunately has seen some better days thanks to the pandemic. There was all these people dressed up in like Alice in Wonderland things, and I wasn't sure, but of course that was good for me because I was able to get photos like this. I particularly like this one. The black and white looks nice, I think. And then further up the road, I spotted some other people dressed up in this Alice in Wonderland costume. I didn't want to take too many because it seemed a bit obvious, you know, to get the photos of people in costume, but I like this one. Further down Argyle Street, there's all this like graffiti everywhere, including this sign which says that somebody apparently smashed up the front of Barclays Bank and they've been closed for 12 weeks and not bothered to repair it, and you know, it's some kind of conspiracy theory. And it has a good point, they have been closed for quite some time, or at least the front has, but who knows. I've sped this up a bit because I think walking around can get a bit boring, but a wee bit further up, spotted this woman coming towards me, this older woman, grabbed her picture, and in the picture she's looking literally right at me, or so it seems. I don't think she actually was, but it looks good anyway. My plan at this point was basically to head up towards the East End, you know, capturing some things as I went, including this guy who's playing guitar. But I wanted to go up towards the Barrowlands to find some old digital cameras. But I'll talk about that a wee bit in a minute. Because this bit I'm coming up to, I don't really like taking photos at it because it's a bit boring. But this one, I think I really like. And I think it's because the three women are kind of in a row. And it's got some nice natural depth to it. On the way to the Barrowlands, you see this Billy Connolly tribute wall art in the background. It's nice and colourful. So it's always a good place to grab some photos, and I did get a few different pictures here, including one of this couple, which I didn't put in the video because it wasn't very good. But just as you can see coming up here, someone's carrying a chair. One of the things I like about street photography is seeing some of the weird and wonderful things that people are doing, or just slightly unusual. Here we are coming into the world famous Barrowland Market. My plan in here was to record myself trying to find some old digital cameras, because apparently that's, you know, going to be a trendy thing or whatever. But I'm a wee bit nervous about taking photos or videos in the Barrowlands because it's a wee bit of a rougher place, or there's some characters around here that'll tell you to get to fuck. So I kind of wondered about the hipster bit, spotted a few dogs, and of course you always have to take a photo of a dog, especially when its head's hanging over. I did look about some of the shops for these digital cameras. However, it seems like old 90s and 2000s digital cameras aren't actually available anywhere anymore, and I'm dubious about whether or not they're actually interesting to use or whether they're just crap. But I found all these old film cameras and I was debating buying one. There was this thing which is a Kodak Instamatic 304. I thought this was like a half frame thing or like a smaller 110 film camera, but it was broken. So even though it only cost £10 and I could have used it as like an ornament or something like that for my bookshelf, I decided I've got too many old cameras. This one, you may recognise this as an Argus. Can't remember the exact model. It says C2, so we'll go with that. I really love the look of the Argus cameras and I would love to get one at some point. However, I'm not actually going to use one because the viewfinder is so tiny on it and I've got glasses that, you know, I would literally never take photos with it. However, I would like one, but this one costs something like £55, which is just too expensive. So I didn't find any digital cameras, but I did get some pictures, including this guy. For those of you not familiar with the Barras, this is like the world famous Barrowlands market. There's always some interesting things going on around here. This chair spoke to me for some reason. The colours of that door and everything. I love the signage down the Barras in particular, looks great. Since I had failed in my quest to find a digital camera or an old digital camera, I decided to wander back towards the city centre where things were probably a wee bit more lively as the market was shutting. I got a picture of this wee guy and I didn't realise till later just how brilliant his expression is. He looks like he's 30 years old or something, very suspicious. Got some more pictures including this one, this woman by the bus. The Trongate area is always interesting, lots of people around. This wee guy fannying about with the lights. Just after this, his mum was like, "Hey you, stop it! What are you doing? Stop playing with that, stop touching that!" Argyle Street is one of these places where there's lots of interesting people around, so I tend to wander about here quite a bit. It's got a reputation for being a wee bit scummier than the rest of Glasgow, or at least the rest of the city centre. Which is what I'm coming up to now. Now here you can see in the background there's some of these Alice in Wonderland people dancing to some music that was going on, and my idea was to get a photo of them, but they kind of ran away. And then I thought I'll get a picture of this guy playing the instrument, but then this other guy started walking back. But I got this photo, which I actually really like because of all the eye contact and the kind of way that people are looking. However, I didn't realise I got this photo until later on because I was too busy focused on the guy on the right and a bit concerned they'd seen me and was coming after me. So that was a nice surprise. I also got another photo at another angle because I wanted to get a picture of this. I don't know what instrument that is. I want one though. It's like a violin with a horn on it or something. So if you know what that is, tell me. This is the world famous Buchanan Street, which is apparently romantic because of the wide, streets. It's some of the most expensive high street real estate in Europe or the world or something like that. Got some pictures here. This is where the Ricoh GR IIIx comes in handy because the 40mm lens on that means you can get a bit tighter into people even when it's not that busy on a wide street like Buchanan Street. I took a whole bunch of pictures along here, none of them which were very good, so you're not going to see them. I'm just going to pretend that I took none so that you think I'm better than I am. I had to get a picture of this dog though because his expression was incredible. I really love this picture though because this guy just looks menacing, even though he's probably only like 15 or something like that. But I like the way this ended up coming out and his expression staring at me like, what? Further up Buchanan Street, speeding up again. We have a giant Victoria's Secret on the right, which is always amusing to take photos of. People just looking normal in front of Victoria's Secret. At this point, I thought I needed a bubble tea, and along the way, I spotted this woman getting scared of the pigeons. It's not a good photo, but I wish it had been. It started to rain, and so I got a lovely picture of this woman. I got a few pictures of them actually, because it just looked great with the blue, and her expression is fantastic, I think. One of the cool things about being on the street is that people talk to you, and that's a chance to kind of take their photo and interact a wee bit when normally you wouldn't. So this guy offered me a religious pamphlet, and even though I would normally say no, I took it so I could justify taking a picture of him. Here we have the ABC, which unfortunately burned down. This was a cinema, and then it was a music venue and some other things, and the Glasgow School of Art burnt down twice. We won't go into that, but it burnt down twice, and the second time it managed to take out the ABC, and unfortunately it's kind of symbolic of how bad a state Sauchiehall Street is in at the moment. So I finally got my bubble tea. This is a tradition whenever I used to go out taking photos with my pal Lee and Brian and Al, although Al said he would never drink a bubble tea. However, he's missing out. I always get the popping fruit boba. I don't like the tapioca ones. They're too chewy and weird. On the left you can see my nice wee camera. I had to charge it up anyway, but it's the DJI Action 2. At this stage I decided, fuck it, I may as well walk to the West End. I've had enough taking photos in the city centre. So I walked up and saw this interesting Guy Fawkes Innocent graffiti. Unfortunately, my camera at this point was charging or transferring files or something. There was a whole bunch of these kids kind of running about, not giving it a shit what was going on around them, not caring that they were bumping into people. So I grabbed a couple of photos and there's this guy, this wee guy standing there in the background fixing his glasses, and I thought that would be me. That would be me hiding in the background. So I got his picture, and I think this is one of my favourite ones from the whole day actually. I quite like the red clashing with the blue, or contrasting with the blue, but I also quite like the black and white one, and so I haven't uploaded the colour one anywhere. I've only uploaded the black and white one to my blog, so this is a bonus for those of you watching this. This is me going down Great Western Road, which is one of the famous streets in Glasgow. They're all famous, aren't they? Every street is famous. This couple were out eating or drinking or something. Not looking very happy. I hope I never look like that. I hope I look joyous in every occasion. It was quite a nice day, so it was nice enough to walk around. On the left here, you can see that these people were wandering about, and this girl had a big bunch of sunflowers, and I knew I had to get a picture of it because it looked cool, but I had to kind of swivel around. It was in a really awkward angle, and it's times like these I wish I had a bit more, maxi, and just turned around and took her photo, or asked them. I used to ask people to take their photos in the street, so I don't know why I didn't just do that. Anyway, I managed to get one, so fuck it. Here are revellers enjoying the sun. I always love a moustache in a picture. You can't beat a moustache. Bit of facial hair. Of course, I have to take photos of every dog I see. Dogs are more interesting and less likely to complain than people. I think Elliot Erwitt said that, or something like that anyway. I think he said they're less likely to ask you for prints, but still. I think this lady was American, North American. Here, this is Byers Road, which is like the main kind of street in the West End where the students hang out and stuff like that. However, unfortunately, the sun was like right behind, which meant that everything was backlit, including this guy who's back. I mean, that's not good posture, is it? He's going to have problems later in life. I took a wander down this street, which I can never remember the name of. I've been coming there for years. I was trying to find one of the early digital cameras again. There's loads of stuff in here, including this nice tape thing. I considered buying this actually for the musical part of my channel, but that would have been extravagant. I already have tape players, don't need another one. Some nice cameras in here, but no, nothing. No old shitty digital cameras, so I just had to leave and carry on my way, my merry way. I crossed the road at this point so I could stand in the shadows, and I got a few pictures in a short space of time here, including this next one, I think, which, yeah, this is like one of the shots that I would like to get more of, where she was, the person was just naturally happy, smiling away, glanced up, and I managed to catch the expression, so I'm really quite pleased with this one. This crossing that we're coming up to is literally it's a nightmare crossing. Anyone that has gone to Glasgow Uni will know what I'm talking about, and this crossing takes forever to change the lights, so I kind of just meandered across because I knew the timing of the lights and everything. And I managed to get this photo of this girl, which I think is one of my favourite as well from the day. She looked a bit pensive, her hands are up at her face, however she was probably just holding up the microphone of her headphones. Now at this stage I'm beginning to think I need a drink, or at least I need to charge my camera, so the drink, gave me time to charge it. And one drink turned into two, and then that drink kind of turned into some chicken wings, cauliflower, buffalo wings, and then another drink. And then by the time I was done, I had thought about getting the bus home at this point, because I was still a few miles away from my house. However, I thought, fuck it, I've got a beer jacket on now, Dutch courage, I'll take some more photos. I like this one of these ladies wandering along. The expressions on their faces are particularly good. Around the corner there was this guy. I liked his hat. This bit of town is a wee bit sparse in terms of what is around to take pictures of, so there wasn't too many people around on this section, so I was just kind of meandering around. I like this one in particular mostly because they're so close and looking right at the camera, but otherwise it's not, it's hardly high concept art, is it? Now across the road here, there's a guy, and he was standing eating noodles or something really awkwardly, and so I thought that was enough to take a photo of. However, when I looked at these later, I realised that somebody with a big video camera was filming him. So maybe this guy is some kind of famous YouTube food person. More dogs standing outside a pink shop. Oh, I thought I'd used the one that was in full colour here, but apparently not. I did get a picture where it was in full colour, but I've obviously decided to share the black and white one. I think the colour one is on my blog. This guy waved at me. I think he thought I was filming, and I wasn't. Well, I kind of was, but safe to say that now I'm pretty on the way home, I had to use the bathroom, so I jumped in and got a wee shot, which made me a bit gallus. I began to get some photos like this down Suckiall Street. Suckiall Street was beginning to get a bit more lively. Everybody going out for their drinks. Back down Buchanan Street. So at this point I've done a big loop, and I clearly was running out of inspiration since I was taking photos of seagulls. Seagulls in a variety of ways. Look how regal it looks. Now this picture is one that I didn't really mean to take, or I was trying to take a photo of something else, but I managed to get this one, and it's kind of, well, I mean, you can make of it what you will. I was talking on the phone at this point, so I can't use any of the audio. I think talking on the phone makes you look less conspicuous, maybe? Maybe not. This is my gradual path to get the bus home, since there are no trains. I really like this photo of this guy. I wish I knew why he was hiding around the corner, who he was looking for. Around about the bus stop, there was tons of people waiting, so I snapped a bunch of pictures of interesting looking people, including a few people who definitely spotted me, like this guy, who looks a bit scary on the right there. However, I had had too many beers to notice. So that's kind of it. I've got a bunch of photos left at this stage that I took just before I headed home. The DJI Action 2 worked fairly well, I think, in terms of capturing things. It was fairly discreet, so I didn't worry too much about, you know, people noticing and shouting at me or battering me or whatever. Watching back the video kind of gives me a different perspective on taking street photos and my approach and everything. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll do this again. So that was it. That was one day. In the end, I walked about 23,000 steps, which is about 10 miles or something like that, maybe over 10 miles. I took about 1,500 photos and a few hours of video, and it's all condensed down into this neat 20-ish minutes. If you like this, or you're interested in this kind of thing, please do comment, because I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. I'm just fucking doing stuff. I do have a blog on this at allmyfriendsarejpegs.com. That's my photo blog. Goodbye.